And if they're who you are, they're not something that a copywriter should be editing out of your work. One of the things that scares people a lot about hiring a writer is, well, I'm not going to sound like me anymore. And a good copywriter is going to make you sound exactly like you.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to season 6 of the 15-ish minute coffee chat, a conversation providing tips for every entrepreneur and business owner.
Your email list will always be one of your best assets as a business owner. Host Selena of How Will You Socially Inspired and Anna of Nomad About, along with guest Abbi Perets, successful freelance mom, chat about creating an email strategy for your business. Yes, I'm excited for today.
Me too.
First of all, you guys, today is going to be the very first day that we are streaming live in LinkedIn. And we're very excited. Yes, super excited, you know.
We both got approved, which means that Selena and I, because you can only stream into one LinkedIn. So today it's in my LinkedIn. Next week it's going to be in hers.
Wherever I am.
And so we're going to just take turns going back and forth, but the other person will always be sharing the post. So we hope you'll join in with us every week.
Yeah. Anna, what is our call to action question today? What do you have for our guests?
Well, for anyone that's tuning in live right this minute, I just want to know, do you have an email strategy for your business? Are you just shooting out emails randomly here and there? Are you just like, oh, it's been about 6 months. I guess I should connect with my people, and then we're like, I really have no idea what to say. So I'll throw up this graphic here and just tell them, about this thing that just happened last week. And then you're like hemming and hawing, like, tell me, do you have a strategy?
Yes, we have the perfect guest for today because she's going to help. We're going to talk about not to be intentional. So we're excited. We're excited to have her on. And remember, we are doing 30 minutes. We are staying within our 30 minutes. This is the second show. If you did not see last week, it was a hot mess, but it was perfect because our topic for last week's show was when things go wrong in business. So
yeah,
that's
and it went wrong.
Right.
It all went wrong.
Not happening today. So
should we bring her on? Should we bring on? Oh, let's read her bio.
Yes. Let's look at the bio. Let's do this. All right. You guys, this is Abbi. She is a copywriter with 20 years of experience working with some of the biggest brands in the world. She's passionate about writing email sequences and sales pages that help people get their courses, services, and products in front of the people who need them most. Hi, hello. This is who you want to have in your back pocket, guys, because let's be real. I'm just lucky I have Anna. I am not a copywriter fan in the sense of I make the most grammatical errors and I don't see them. So I think they're no big deal. But Anna and people like Abbi are sometimes in my audience and their eyes twitch when they see that I do no commas or I do like 5 dots instead of just 3. Like, you know what I mean? Like little things like that. Anyway, we're going to talk about all the things. I'm not going to read the rest of Abbi's bio because you're going to just learn more about her in real time. Yeah. So
one thing I do want to mention before we bring her on though, is when we were coordinating with Abbi, she said, oh, I'm going to be in Israel. And I thought, oh, she's going to Israel on a visit. No, Abbi lives in Israel, which I only just found out a few minutes ago. So she's our third international guest, which I'm very excited about. And when you say she works with people all over the world, she really does. She's like true international, which is kind of exciting.
Yes.
So should we bring her on?
Yeah, Anna, go do it. Bring her on.
I'm going to bring her on.
Hello.
Hi, Abbi. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I was not aware of the 30-minute limit. I have planned about 6 hours of content.
Look, me and Anna love to chat. So, we're down. 6 hours could be like only 30 minutes.
I am a chronic oversharer. So feel free to cut me off at any point that you need to. It's okay with me.
That is a trait in you copywriters, Abbi, because you guys, you are great researchers. And I think that's what I love about Anna so much is I'm a skimmer. So I miss important things. And you copywriters are like like genius researchers. You like will scan each word, and I don't have the patience for that sometimes. So
That's a really important point. When you are a copywriter, one of the things that you have to know is that not everybody is like you. So, for example, Selena, you mentioned that in your emails, you might make grammatical errors or you might use 5 dots instead of 3. Both of those things are totally okay. And if they're who you are, they're not something that a copywriter should be editing out of your work. One of the things that scares people a lot about hiring a writer is, well, I'm not going to sound like me anymore. And a good copywriter is going to make you sound exactly like you and is going to get into your voice and just make you like you exactly what you wanted to say and what you were trying to say and what you struggled to say, and they're just going to get it to come out for you. But if I were writing email on your behalf, 5 dots would be the thing, if that's the thing. Like, I'm not there to correct your grammar and to make you sound like someone else. The things that make you sound like you are super important.
I love that.
Yes.
So cheers for copywriters.
Man. I should just leave the show though. You and Abby should just have a copywriting show.
I know. I feel like we should do like a big rah cheer. Like,
yeah.
Give me a big exactly.
WRIT. Yes, like the whole layout.
It would be a really long one, but okay. Before we get too far into our conversation, let's do our quick coffee cup selfie.
Yes.
I brought Oscar with me today. Who do we have? Oh, look, she got her water bottle. I love it.
You guys, it's 9 p.m. where Abby is. So, man, she should be having wine, really. Okay. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Awesome.
Cheers, you guys. Thank you, Abby, for being on late at night, because we also did joke about our age, which we will not share on this podcast live stream replay. This is late.
There's some things that happen behind the scenes that stay behind the scenes, and that's one of them.
Yeah, for sure. All right.
Okay. Are we ready to get started?
Yeah.
Okay, so Abby, I'm just going to start with our very first question for you, because one of the things that we loved when we were looking through your content on your website is that you talk a lot about how you can be both a great mom and have a great career. You don't have to choose one or the other. And so we just wanted to start our questions out with, how do you create a balance for both of those huge time demands in your life? Because you don't have like one child, you have 5 children, correct?
5.
So, yeah, I grew up in a family of 7 and now I only have 2. And I look at my mom and I think she's Wonder Woman, like truly superhero status, because I can barely handle 2. How in the world did she do 7? So you kind of fit in the middle there. So tell us, how do you do it?
Sure. Well, number one, I don't even pretend to do everything. I let go of a lot of things, and I'm totally okay with that. So it really comes down to deciding, what are you okay with letting go of? So for me, it's very easy I'm not a person who's ever going to stay up late because there are dirty dishes in the sink. That does not affect my sleep at all. I'm really big on, instead of saying like, I don't have time for such and such, to replace that with, it's not a priority for me, and to see how that feels. So I can very honestly say, folding laundry is not a priority for me. So I'm not going to make time for it in my day. It's also why I had children. I tell them I had children so that they would do those chores. Yes. And I invented, I don't know if you guys know this about me, I invented a parenting philosophy. It's called benign neglect.
I missed that on the website. That wasn't part of the strategy that you put up there.
Yeah, I'm thinking of publishing a book about it. It would be a very short book. It would be like, do what you want to do and your kids will be fine. And so
that should have been in my mommy pamphlet when I gave birth at the hospital, Abby. That's when it should be given to a mother, a parent.
Look, I get women who tell me things like, so the flip side of what I do, I write for clients, and I also teach women how to start freelance writing businesses. And when I am working with my students, if I hear from them, well, I want to be 100% focused on my children, what I tell them is, that's wonderful. And if you want to be 100% focused on your children, that leaves 0% for your business. So you have to make that decision. If you want to be 100% focused on your children at a certain point or for all of your adult life, let's celebrate that, own it and lean into it, and recognize that you are then not leaving any space for other things in your life, which may not be the healthiest. So it's about, like you said, it's about finding balance and deciding, what does balance mean to you? What matters to you? Where do you want your focus to be? And remembering that there are seasons of life where things are going to be more intense with your children and more intense with your business. And I'm at an age now, where my children are at an age, my children are ages, 12 through 22. And they're all 5 of them living at home. Thank you, COVID. And my 17-year-old has autism, is developmentally disabled, had cancer in the past, is better now. And so like, there's a lot that happens in my house. And there are a lot of demanding things about having children, but they're also at an age where they're pretty independent. 4 of my kids today took my car and went to an escape room together, went to the mall and had food afterwards on my credit card. They sent me pictures. And then they went to the grocery store. You guys, my pantry right now, it is hysterical. Clearly 4 children did the grocery shopping, because we have like Laffy Taffy out the wazoo, Twizzlers, like potato chips. And I'm like, is there any like food for lunch? They're like, lunch. Who needs lunch? We have potato chips. So
Who needs lunch?
pretty well. Yeah. But again, those are the things that, okay, fine. If there's nothing for lunch tomorrow, I'm not above ordering pizza, because I would rather be focused right now on growing my business.
Yeah.
So.
You sound like just your personality wise, very chill. You're just like, whatever. If we don't have lunch, we're going to order pizza. We'll figure it out. It will
In many ways, although my children would laugh if they heard you describe me, because they think of me as like an anxiety-ridden mess, because I am very anxious about like other things. You know, I'm like, oh my goodness, my children are driving right now. Are they okay? Or like, I have a rule: when you come home late at night, you must come into my room and wake me up and say, I came home and I'm fine. Like, and they think that's weird. But so we all, we play out our anxiety in different ways. But yeah, on that kind of stuff, truly, it is the bane of my mother's existence that I am not disturbed by mess and clutter. I am just not. I pay the cleaner to come once a week. I do not clean prior to the cleaner coming, because no.
What do you hire him for? If not
exactly. Like I've never been that person who's like, oh, I need to clean. The cleaner's coming. I'm like, the cleaner knows my secrets. She gets paid well because she knows my secrets. I am a slob. So.
I love it. So I just have to tell you, interestingly, Selena had just put a post up on, I think it was LinkedIn, just a few days ago, where she talked about when you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else.
Yes.
And that's what I hear you saying basically, is like, you really have to prioritize and say to yourself, this is what's important to me. So I'm going to say yes to these things and no to these things for right now. It doesn't mean
for right now. That is the key. That is
exactly.
That it's absolutely. And I tell people that a lot, and not everybody believes it. And the opposite is also true. When you say no to something, you're saying that no so that you can say yes to something else. And I really encourage, especially women, to really internalize that message. When I say, no, I can't play Monopoly with you for 6 hours, it's because I want to get us to a place where I can take you to Atlantic City for 2 weeks and not worry about what's happening with our money. So although I don't spend all your money in Atlantic City. So
yeah. No, we cannot have a 6-hour coffee chat. I'm sorry.
I'm just kidding. We chatted about this backstage, but I want to also say, like, I love that when you talk about balance, it's just like, and this is a theme we have with a lot of our guests, is just have a little grace for yourself, right? And saying that it is okay to outsource, to do the things here. I get you. I just had somebody magical come and help me redo my whole kitchen organization and pantry. And she did it so fast. There's no way I would have done it. She did it in 3 hours. That would have taken me 5 days. And I would have been like frustrated and mad and angry and just, and then what's interesting about that's her zone of genius. And we started talking about her website, which is my zone of genius. And it was just, you know what I mean? And I'm like, it's okay. Give yourself some grace,
Absolutely. And I'll give you one other tip before we dive into copywriting. Another life tip. So again, I'm a natural slob. And I know that. So I build systems that don't require me to not, not to go against my natural tendencies. So for example, I'm never going to be the person who has a perfectly organized closet all the time. So I have a rule. Every time I walk into my closet, which is probably like 5 or 10 times in any given day, right? So anytime I walk into my closet, I put 3 things away properly. And that means that most of the time, my closet is mostly presentable. It's never going to be perfect. I'm okay with that, but it prevents chaos. And I really believe that the building habits and routines into your day is a great, especially for those of us who, like me, are not naturally clean freaks, neat freaks, whatever. Like, this is a system for me. And I apply that kind of 3-thing system to all kinds of things. Like every time I sit down at my desk, I make sure that 3 things on my virtual desktop are filed. And by doing that on a regular basis, most of the time it's under control.
This makes me feel like I should implement this for my email. My email is a disaster. But if I said every time I sit down and open up my email specifically, if I filed 3 emails away, decided what I need, either responded to them, file them away, or delete them, whatever I'm going to do with it, I feel like my inbox would be
much more controllable. Yeah. And I will say another thing with email, if you, like most of us, manage your email via Gmail, don't even bother with filing. Archive everything because the search bar is so good.
Unless you don't title it correctly, and then you're searching for stuff and you're like, what did I call that?
Like what you need to know is, because you're going to be looking for an email by who sent it or the line that was in it, and you can search on that text and Google will pull it up for you.
You don't have
Abbi,
to. That is, I get so busy trying to implement a very nice organizing system that takes way longer. But I don't look for the email in those folders. So what do we see? Now that you say it like that, like, why?
It makes sense.
Yes.
We're spending a lot of time doing things we don't have to do.
No. Yeah.
I feel like these first 15 minutes have already opened my world in ways I did not expect today.
Yeah. I also feel like Abbi is flown telepathically to my house, and she knows that my coat closet is a hot mess, and I'm like, I can do 3 things. Yes, you know what I mean? I do like the 1, 2, 3 method for a lot of different things because it's very manageable to, like, you know what I mean? You're like, when you go beyond 3, there's like, it causes a little anxiety because it's not easy, right? So
yeah.
Man, Abbi, we could just talk about balancing and
right?
Not even do the other things.
But
we have
bring it back on for like a life moment, life coaching.
Yeah.
Abbi Perets. So on the flip side, we just talked about you balancing that work life, and you're a freelance at-home writer. And one of the things you spend a lot of time doing is email strategies and email funnels for your clients, right? So we want to talk specifically about email strategies today, and you kind of have your own strategy. Well, anyway, I'll let you talk more about it, but you have your own platform that you've kind of created to help people do this in a way that's quick and efficient and easy. And on the flip side, if somebody out there that's listening wants to be a freelancer, this is your person. She's going to teach you how to do that and how to do it successfully. So our question for you today about emails is, can you give us a couple of strategies or strategies that you would share with business owners for creating an email strategy that's both successful and not gross? And I'm going to use the word gross because in her intake form, she said, you know how sales emails can be kind of gross sometimes, right? So we want strategies that are successful and don't feel gross to the client that receives them.
Yeah. So I think that I have 2 rules for email marketing. There are only 2, but you must follow both of them. Okay. So rule number 1 is don't lie. Don't lie ever about anything. So don't say this sale is for 48 hours if that's always the price of the thing. Don't say the webinar is live if the webinar is recorded. Don't say I forgot to send this if you totally did not forget to send it. Like, don't lie. And then rule number 2, I've actually been playing with the phrasing on this one. I used to call it like the golden rule, like, don't send an email that you wouldn't want to receive. But I felt like that wasn't quite clear enough for some people. Some people took a little longer to get the message. So I've been kind of playing around with that one. And now I've got it to something along the lines of, if it would really bother you, if your mom knew that you sent it, you probably shouldn't send it. And I don't want to imply here that you can't talk about adult topics. If you want to talk about sexuality, if you want to talk about I don't care. Like, that's totally cool. What I mean is, would it make you feel bad, guilty, something, if people in your real life knew that knew that you were the person sending that email? Like, would that make you stop and think for a moment? Because that's pretty much a sign that you're doing something. It's like in a Facebook group when somebody says, I don't know if this is allowed, but it's not allowed and you're trying to get away with it. The rule in my Facebook group is, if it starts with delete if not allowed, I stop reading there and I delete it. And I tell them that, like, if you can't be bothered to read the rules, I'm not going to be bothered to read your post. So,
I love that.
So if we start with don't lie and don't send something that you wouldn't want to get in your own inbox, we're already head and shoulders above a lot of people out there, right? From there, how do you not be gross? You remember that you are writing, the person opening that email on the other end is a single person. So it's not a collective. So it's not, hey, you guys, guess what? It's one person who's reading it. So you've got to speak to that one person very clearly. And you've got to remember that everything that you send needs to have value to that person. You are sharing space. I think of email as something very intimate, because where do you check email? You check it on your phone. Where do you check your email on your phone? You sit in the bathroom and you check it. Like, that's intimate. So it's true though. I mean, it's true. How many times today did you check your email in the bathroom? So it's intimate. And it's intimate also because when you are on my phone, you are sharing space with pictures of my beautiful children sent to me from the car while they were driving home from their adventure today. So, like, you are sharing space with pictures of my kids. You are sharing space with messages from my husband, with texts from my mom. You are sharing space with the people and the things that mean the most to me. So you better respect that relationship. So you have to treat if you are starting a business, you darn well better genuinely care about the people you are serving. Like, if I told you you're going to go and spend a month with them on an island, that should excite you beyond, like, that should not fill you with dread. You should not be thinking, oh crap, they're going to kill me. You should be thinking, I am the luckiest person in the world. Like, you should really, really care about the people you're serving. And you should, like, I talk about my people, right? Like, my kids are like, we don't care. I'm like, well, you should care, because guess what Melissa just did, And they're like, we've never met her. So, well, that's your problem. You're really missing out. You should come to one of my Zoom calls, So, like, but I know them. They are in my heart. And so when I email them, I am thinking about them. And that's who you need to be thinking about when you send that email. You need to be thinking about that reader. I hate, now brace yourselves, because this is a very controversial statement. I hate ideal client avatars. Right?
What?
I know. The business.
Tell us why. I'm so curious.
Okay. I hate them because people do this dumb thing where they're like, this is my ideal client avatar. She's 43. And when she goes to Starbucks, she orders the caramel macchiato, but with non-fat milk. Okay. How about if instead you talk to a real person who has actually bought your stuff? And instead of like my ideal person, so my actual client, Melissa, is a 43-year-old mom of 3. And, these are things that she actually does in her actual life, which I know because I've spoken with her. This is another thing. If you want to have a successful business, you are going to have to talk to people at some point. I know we're all introverts and that's why we're, on the computer and whatever, but like you are going to have to talk to people at some point. I don't know how to build a successful business without having conversations with people. And when you have conversations with people and you actually talk to them and you know actual things about them, then you sit down and you write an email to Melissa, your actual human friend. And then afterwards, you can go back and change some stuff up a little bit and make it a little bit more broad, but write it to Melissa. So you wouldn't say to Melissa, whether you've been in business 6 months or 6 years, you would know. You'd say, Melissa, now that you've been in business 4 years, 3 months, and seven days, whatever, like you would be able to dial in very specifically. And in that specificity, all of your readers are going to find themselves.
I love that. I love the idea of writing an email to one specific person. Okay, so clearly I have done quite a few ideal client avatars in my lifetime.
We all have.
Probably more than my fair share, right? And I've always felt like it just allows your client to feel like they're connecting with who they are, because they have a hard time, I think, sometimes like imagining the one person that is buying. So, but I love the idea of when you're writing that email to write it to one specific person that you know is purchasing your item, like that, one client, and then mixing it up afterwards. That is such good advice and not something I'd ever thought of before as a copywriter. So well done.
Thank you.
Yeah. Really I can digest that though. I mean, like, not, as a non-copywriter, when you still have to figure out, but you're like, no, really, really. And that just goes into playing, really connect and know who is your audience, right? And not,
It's so important. And really having those conversations, if you listen to your people, they will tell you exactly what they need to hear in that email. You'll have conversation with them. They'll tell you at the beginning of COVID, for example. So one of the services that I offer my clients is I write their weekly emails to their list, right? So my son has been calling me constantly since we started. And he's calling me from upstairs, by the way. So I sat down with them at the beginning of COVID, and we had to rewrite a whole bunch of stuff that had been, pre-scheduled and was no longer going to be relevant and was going to come out as very tone deaf if we had sent it as it is. So what I said to them was, what do you want to be hearing right now? Like, what do you wish your coach would tell you right now? Because that's what their people really needed to hear from them. They needed to step up and be leaders of their movements. And that's what we talked about. We talked about it just helped us really dig in on what they knew their people needed to hear, because they themselves needed to hear it. They needed to hear, we're going to get through this. Yes, it's crazy. It's not you. It's the whole world. They needed to hear certain things. And by having those conversations and listening to their own people and listening to the terror that their own people were expressing in their Facebook groups and in their forums and whatever, we were able to bring that out in email. If you listen carefully to people, they will tell you exactly what they need to hear. And then you can write it in an email and they will literally email you back and say, this is exactly what I needed to hear. And you're like, yeah, I know, because you said so.
Can I tell you that when I first started my business, the first time I sent emails out, like newsletter type emails, and got a response back, I was so excited. Yeah. Like, as a business owner, when you connect on that level with some of your clients, it's a really exciting moment.
Yeah.
And to be like, hey, you're like, oh my gosh, they're listening, they're reading, they're understanding.
And I will tell you, when I teach email strategy to business owners, one of the most important things that I can teach is, if you say in your email, hit reply and tell me XYZ, you darn well better be ready to reply to people who write into you. Because if that person took the time out of their day to reply to your email and give you information and insight into their brain, that's gold. And you need to step up and so, like, people, what if everybody replies? I'm like, then you have some champagne and celebrate,
because that's amazing.
You get replying. And if you need to hire people to reply, you hire people to reply, but you do not ask for replies if you don't plan to do anything with them.
Yeah. That's when that afternoon cup of coffee comes in.
I think this is going to segue great into how you can find and connect with Abbi. We're going to talk about that first. Abbi, seriously, really, this could be 6 hours. Like, I'm like, oh gosh, we're getting near the 30-minute mark. I have to move us along, you know?
No, I just want to say, though, she really gave good bite-sized strategies.
Yes.
Like bite-sized pieces of information that any business owner can implement in any industry and have an email connection that makes sense. Like that isn't just random, what do I write today? Blah, 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 right?
For sure. For sure, my friend.
I love that. Thank you so much, Abbi.
Yeah.
All right.
So, Abbi, tell everybody. I mean, you guys, look, she's giving little nuggets. You could get more. Just follow her. But Abbi, tell them where you want them to find you.
Sure. So I have a Facebook page, Successful Freelance Mom. I'm on Instagram. I'm really trying to grow my Instagram following. I have like 1,300 followers, and I'm at Abbi Perets on Instagram. So connect with me there. I am on LinkedIn. Yes, you've got that Abbi Perets up there. And my website is at successfulfreelancemom.com. That's a great place to go if you want to get into freelance writing and if you want to build a freelance writing business. If you visit the website, you'll get access to all of my resources there. I also have a Facebook group for women. It's called Successful Freelance Writing Moms. You don't have to be a mom to join the group, but you do have to identify as a woman. So
there you go. I mean, seriously, you guys, and we've just dropped in the links or in wherever you are watching from. This is a direct link to her website. Go click it and go and check it out. We're also going to talk about, you guys, I'm so excited. I don't even know how I organize my slides today. So we're just going to go with what's next. It's a toolkit. Okay. You guys, we have talked about toolkits and this season we're kind of either, if our guest has a fantastic toolkit, we want to make sure we share it with you, or we come up with one of ourselves. So this is Abbi's toolkit that we think you should have. And so here's a screenshot of her website, but I'm going to let Abbi tell you about it.
Okay, awesome. So basically, I have, like I said, I offer a service to clients where I help them write all of their email that they need for the month to their own lists. And I developed a system around this. And then my own students were like, can you teach us how to sell this service? So I created a training called Email Expert for my students. And then I was like, yeah, but I could, so teaching them like the part about how I work with clients to do this. But then I was like, I could sell this directly to business owners too. So I pulled out all the stuff about like, you don't care about how I work with clients. What you care about is doing this for yourself. So I give you my system here to write all of the email you need to send for the whole month to your list. So like your 4 or 5 weekly emails, depending on which day of the week you send and how the month falls out and whatever, in about an hour. And this is my system. I walk you through what's called the WRITE framework, WRITE. We have a whole framework that we teach you inside of email in an hour.
I love puns. I love
puns.
Good.
So good, right? And you get the whole system. You get it, the training itself is under an hour, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm funny, so I think I'm funny. My kids do not think I'm funny. And it's engaging. You get a workbook that goes with it. My workbooks are actually, I call them better than a transcript workbooks because it's all the content from the actual training, but with explanation and organized and really easy to follow. So if you watch the training once, then you can just refer back to the workbook and you don't have to go back and watch the training again and again if you ever need to refresh your mind. And it's really, honestly, it's quite well done. And this is a $37 offer. It's really simple to follow. This will give you what you need to write your email every single month to your list and get it done. I know this is something that really, really drags for a lot of business owners. If you're not a writer and you feel uncomfortable writing, we've got tons of information in here packed in that will make it far less uncomfortable for you and will almost make it fun.
Yeah.
And if you try that you still hate it, I mean, like, just for context, my clients pay me close to $2,000 a month to do this for them. So like, this is a bargain. And there are ways to get it done for you if you really just hate doing it.
Guys, $37. You can write it off for your business. I mean, there's many pluses. And I think for me, like I'm actually excited. I am actually going to purchase this. I have a bunch of email clients that we do stuff. And I think for me, I just need more inspiration, right? You need somebody to kind of reinvigorate what you do constantly. And I think sometimes when you just do the same thing, like you said, it's nice to have an alternative. And so I personally, after this, I'll be like, yes, I mean, why not? Who doesn't want to have emails in an hour and not days? You know?
That's so true. Yes.
So
I think this kind of inspiration is priceless. And especially like Abby was saying, I mean, you can find other email courses out there. I've never seen one for $37. So, and if you just listen to the show, she's hilarious and she's fun to talk to. And I would love to sit in a classroom with her and be like, tell me all the things.
Yeah.
I think it would be awesome.
For 6 hours, because I know that's what's going to happen, you know? So.
Yes. And then to get my emails done in less than an hour, I'd be like, right? Look at that. Look at that.
Abby, seriously, we're going to just end with our tip jar. I went a little out of sequence today, but that's just because I was really excited to hear all of the Abby things. And Anna and I, when we were reviewing your, I was like, oh, she's fun on her website. Like, she makes me like, I want to read more. Like, you know, I don't know.
Look, my 2 favorite topics are me and what do you think about me? So this is great.
Perfect.
So send her an email and let her know. She wants to hear from you.
Yes. So I'm going to just pop up our tip jar from Caitlin Eldridge. From Eldridge CPA, create a system. Remember, that's what Abby even talked about in a non-financial way. Create a system that works for you to pay yourself. As an entrepreneur, we can get really frustrated if we aren't seeing the fruits of our labor. Profit to yourself first. So, oh man, Abby, thank you. We did good. I mean, we're only 6 minutes over. I mean,
that's not bad.
And according to Abby, we're like 5 hours and 30 minutes left. So,
absolutely.
Win-win.
Before we sign off, I do want to say next week we have Janae Quick with Solely Massage and Yoga, and we're going to be talking specifically about the challenges business owners have with being present in social media. That's kind of our topic next week.
Yeah.
And as always, find us at AnnaandSelena.com. Connect with us on LinkedIn, which is our favorite platform. You can also find us on Instagram and Facebook, or your favorite podcast platform to hear any of our past 15-ish minute coffee chats. And Abby's will be posting soon, so you can listen to it over and over and over again until it's all ingrained in your brain forever.
If you are listening to her episode on podcast, don't worry, you'll find her link to all the things, email and hour, will be in the podcast description. But Anna, so fun to co-host with you as always. And Abby.
Always. Abby, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much for having me. I had a blast.
Yeah, right? We're going to do this again. Figure it out. Something
seriously.
Like that. So, all right, you guys. Aloha.
Ciao, ciao.